You ever have those days where it feels like the world is just spinning way too fast? Like the ground is constantly shifting right under your feet? Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you a map for that chaos. We are diving deep into what's called the VUCA Fu world.
Right? You finally launch a project, and boom, the market completely shifts. You spend months mastering a new piece of tech, and suddenly, it's already obsolete. It's that constant nagging feeling of always being one step behind.
And if that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. This sense of constant, just unpredictable change is so common that experts have actually given it a name. They've built a whole framework to help all of us get a handle on it.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start by talking about this world of chaos. Then I'll introduce you to the VUCA framework. After that, we'll break down the challenge of volatility, we'll decode uncertainty and complexity, and then navigate ambiguity and fear. And we'll wrap it all up by giving you your modern survival toolkit.
Okay, let's get right into it. What on earth is VUCA Fu? I know the acronym sounds a little intimidating, but don't let it fool you. Think of it less like scary corporate jargon and more like a new pair of glasses. It's a way to categorize the chaos, to actually put a name to what we're all feeling, so we can finally start to build a real strategy to deal with it. So, here are the 6 pieces of the puzzle: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, fear, and unprecedentedness. Each one represents a totally unique challenge, and when you put them all together, well, they paint a pretty clear picture of the world we're all trying to navigate today.
All right, let's start breaking this down one piece at a time. First up is the V in VUCA Fu, and that stands for volatility.
So volatility is all about the speed and the sheer scale of change. Think of it like hitting sudden turbulence on an airplane. It's not just that things are changing, it's like the changes are fast, they're huge, and they pretty much hit you out of nowhere.
This is a fantastic example from our source material. Imagine this. One day, the price of lumber is totally stable. The next day, a hurricane wipes out a huge production area, and overnight, prices just skyrocket. That sudden, dramatic shift, that is volatility in a nutshell.
So how in the world do you deal with that? Well, you can't stop the turbulence, right? But you can definitely buckle your seatbelt. The key is to build agility into everything you do. That might mean stockpiling some key supplies to create a buffer, or maybe it's investing in flexible technology that lets you pivot in an instant.
Okay, so now let's tackle the next 2 parts. And these two are really connected: uncertainty and complexity. You see, if volatility is the storm, then these are the thick fog and the confusing maze that come right after it.
When things are changing that fast, trying to predict what's next becomes almost impossible. And that feeling, that is uncertainty. It's the feeling that you're just flying blind. The data from yesterday doesn't help you with tomorrow, which makes every single decision feel like a huge gamble.
Just imagine your main competitor drops a brand new, game-changing product out of the blue. Suddenly, your entire 5-year plan is basically worthless. The way to fight back isn't to make a wild guess. It's to become obsessed with information. You need to build systems that are constantly gathering and analyzing data so you can see those surprises coming before they hit you.
And then there's complexity. This is all about the incredible number of interconnected parts. Think of it like a giant, tangled web of string. You pull on one thread over here, and for some reason 5 other threads move on the complete opposite side. The connection between cause and effect gets totally murky, making it impossible to map everything out.
This is a perfect way to visualize complexity. A single decision made in a boardroom in New York could have completely different and totally unpredictable results in Tokyo, Berlin, and Rio. Why? Because of all those different regulations, tariffs, and cultural norms at play. It's a minefield.
And now, we get to the final elements of this framework. And honestly, this is where things get really challenging, because these are deeply human. We're talking about situations where the entire rulebook just gets thrown out the window.
Now, it's super important to know that ambiguity is different from uncertainty. With uncertainty, you just need more information. With ambiguity, you might be drowning in information, but it's all pointing in different directions. It's like trying to launch a product in a brand new country. You have all this data, but you have no idea what any of it means. There's no playbook.
So what do you do when there's no right answer? You stop looking for one. The key here is to start experimenting. You have to start thinking like a scientist. Create a hypothesis, run a small, low-risk experiment to test it, and then learn from the results, whether they're good or bad.
So that was the original VUCA model, but in the last few years, it became painfully obvious that something was missing. To really describe the crises we face now, 2 more layers had to be added: fear
and unprecedentedness. And there is no better example of this than the COVID-19 pandemic.
What's so wild is how perfectly this timeline illustrates the whole framework. The virus rapidly mutating into new strains like Delta and Omicron, that is pure volatility. Scientists being unable to predict the next wave, that's uncertainty. The way it's snarled global supply chains, textbook complexity. And the fact that nobody on Earth had a playbook for what to do, that is the definition of ambiguity.
And in the face of all that fear and this completely unprecedented situation, businesses had a simple choice: adapt or die. They shifted entire workforces to work from home, they embraced contact payments, they completely reoriented their operations, all while trying to navigate a maze of government programs. It was the ultimate real-world test of survival in a VUCA-FU world.
Okay, we've taken the chaos apart, piece by piece. We've put a name to volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and those heavy hitters, fear and unprecedentedness. So now for the most important part. Let's build your survival toolkit.
This table, right here, this is your cheat sheet. When you're facing volatility, your response is agility and buffers. For uncertainty, you need to invest in information. To fight complexity, you develop specialists. To handle ambiguity, you experiment. And for overwhelming fear and unprecedentedness, you have to be ready to reorient everything and put safety above all else. See? Every challenge has a countermove.
Look, at the end of the day, the VUCA-FU framework isn't going to make the chaos just disappear, but it does give you a map. It gives you a language to understand the challenges you're facing. The goal was never to predict the future. That's impossible. The goal is to build the resilience and the adaptability to thrive in it, no matter what it decides to throw at you. So now that you have the map, the only question left is, what part of your world are you going to navigate first?